It's time for the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters, an inside look at your teams in your city.
Welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Reporters. It's Monday, June 24th, and I'm David Todd of 970 ESPN Pittsburgh, and I'm pleased to be joined by my colleague, Stan Savran, Savran on Sports, that you can hear noon to 2 on 970 ESPN, and Mike Prisuta, the DVE Morning Show. Mike's here in his Minnesota Twins shirt today, and Mike, I want to start with you. And I want to know if you're ready to eat crow. You were a little down on this Pirates team coming in. You were big time down on Francisco Liriano. 16 games over 500, 76 games in. Where are you on the Bucks?
Is the season over yet?
It's not over.
Well, we're not munching any bird till the season's over. When they get to 82, I'll eat crow, Dave. I am continually impressed and amazed by what this team has been able to do. Amazed covers yesterday, and I don't know, what would you say, guys? Maybe 5 games or so this year where they were done, they were dead, they were not winning. They found a way to win. That's the difference between 16 over and 4 or 5 over. But a lot of golf yet.
A lot of golf to go. Stan Savran, of course, you can also see on Root Sports doing the Pirates pre- and post-game shows. Stan, the big question now is, and we may be jumping the gun, but Garrett Cole. The Pirates have 6 starters, it looks like. You got Wandy and A.J. coming back in the next 2 weeks. Do you send them down? Do you keep them up?
It's a tough call. Just going back to that point, if I may, they did not play a good ball game yesterday.
They did not.
And yet they still won. I'm very impressed, and I think they are for real. I think that there are limitations to my expectations. I still don't think they'll beat out the Reds or Cardinals. But right now, I can't see, given the level of competition, the second wild card spot is theirs.
Are you banging 82 wins right now? You'd put cash down on that.
Pitching's too good.
All right, well, let me ask you this before Cole. They've got 17 games before the break. They're 16 over right now. Of those 17 games, 12 at home, 14 against teams with losing records. What's a reasonable expectation in those 17 games when you're already 16 over? 20, 21 over?
17 games, I would think 10-7, you're okay. 11-6. You know, being realistic about it.
Yep.
10-7, 11-6. That's a possibility. Although I'm a firm believer in the cyclical element of sports. Like, I would love to be playing the Toronto Blue Jays now, because sooner or later, I mean, that's just the way baseball is. And the Pirates, you win a game like that generally. But be that as it may, as far as Cole's concerned. I mean, a lot of it depends. I mean, I am not sending him down for Genmar Gomez. Wandy Rodriguez is one thing. A.J. Burnett is another thing. I'm not sending him down because Genmar Gomez is available to me. I understand the financial ramifications, but I also think that there are financial ramifications at the box office. As well as he's pitched, and nothing's guaranteed, but I think it's a tough sell to fans out there. Even if it's the right thing to do financially, it's only 1 year of arbitration.
Yep. But
it's not like
it could be $10 to $15 million.
I understand that, but you know what? If they make the playoffs, or if they miss the playoffs, that's going to cost them a whole lot more than 10 to 15 million.
Garrett Cole.
Yeah, I can't believe it's on the table for discussion. I really can't. Now, he's got, another start Friday night?
And probably one more before we have to
so
make the decision.
We might be jumping the gun a little bit, but based on what he's done so far, 3-0, and Clint Hurdle said after the last game against Anaheim is it Anaheim? Is it the California Angels of Orange County, whatever they – against the Angels, that was Cole's best start to this point. I mean, you drafted this guy first overall to come up, be a stud, and win games for you. He's doing that. If it costs you an extra $10 million a year faster than you thought, so what? Like Stan said, the crowds – what was it, a 10,000 attendance drop-off from his start to the next night? I mean, why you would want to mess with this kid if he continues to win? If he's 4 or 5-0 and they send him down anyway, it just confirms what I've been saying. They are not in business to win baseball games.
And by the way, there's no guarantee sending him down, or let me rephrase that. There's no guarantee if they keep him up that they lose the Super 2 status. And the other factor is the All-Star first series out of the All-Star break, they're in Cincinnati. Those are games you have to win.
All right, let me play Neil Huntington for you and give you his answer. You've got 5 starters right now. So when Wandy comes back, we know how this is going to play out if everybody's healthy. And the issue, Stan, couldn't agree more. Genmar Gomez is not the guy. He's going to the pen. The issue is Charlie Morton. And Neil's argument is if you send Morton to the pen and you have an injury or you need to call on somebody for whatever reason, which is likely to happen by the end of the year, you don't have anybody stretched out. Now, if it's one start, you piggyback a guy, whatever, you can do something. But if it's a couple starts, you don't have a guy to turn to. If you only have two guys with options left, they're locked. He's not going anywhere, and Cole. So if he goes down, let's say July 10th, over the All-Star break for 2 or 3 weeks, he continues to stay stretched out, and then you see where you are. You can bring him back up at any time, but it's to keep that starting pitching depth. You buying it?
No.
Not at all.
And the reason is, for example, Genmar Gomez is ready to come back. His longest rehab start, 5 innings. How stretched out is that? You mean to tell me that if you take Charlie Morton, and he does have his rehab issues, but if you take Charlie Morton and you put him in long relief for however long that is, that he can't come back and give you 5 innings as start of the process of stretching him out? I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. The question is, if you look, let's also go to the fact that if you look at the numbers between 3 starts of Morton and Cole, they're very similar. Morton's got a lower ERA. He's actually got more strikeouts. Cole was dominant like we haven't seen a Pirate pitcher probably all year in his last start because he went to the off-speed stuff more often. So I mean, I think there's a reasonable argument to be made for a 2 to 3 week period over the All-Star break to ensure the Super 2 status and to see what happens with your best 5 guys.
But I don't see Charlie Morton as being. I know the numbers are similar, but he's Charlie Morton. We've seen this guy a lot over the years.
Electric stuff.
Yeah, but they said that when he was losing games in double-digit.
And he walked 5
qualities.
His last start.
Garrett Cole is the guy that you picked to be what he's starting to become. I just don't get, now that he's starting to become that, you want to put him in the minor leagues in case somebody gets hurt 3 weeks from now. If it's a money thing, and we all know it's a money thing, come out and say it's a money thing, then I'm going to tell you that is no way to run a railroad. Let's get the 5 best guys pitching now. And think of this, too. How much better does Garrett Cole get if he stays in the big leagues, if he continues gaining experience, if he continues having success? Why do you want to jerk this guy around the way the Penguins did with Marc-Andre Fleury at the start of his career? They had him up, then they didn't want to pay him, so they sent him down. That's not the way to do it. The guy's ready now. He's winning games for you now. What is wrong with that?
I think the point that I want to get to, and Mike touched on it, is he will get better pitching in the major leagues. How much better is he going to get pitching against minor league competition? He's beyond that now. He will get better quicker in the major leagues than he will be pitching 2-3 weeks, whatever it is, in the minor leagues. He's beyond that.
I don't know that I buy that, Stan, only the sense that if you're working on stuff, if you think there is stuff to work on, rather than getting it drilled by major leaguers, you have more of an opportunity in the minors. And that's obviously what the Pirates thought he did from April to June. So,
But he's been pretty successful. Can he get better? Of course. But he's been pretty successful while still working on stuff at the major league level.
I don't think anybody's suggesting Garrett Cole's down, when he's sent down, he's gone. I think we're talking about a 2 to 3 week window. And for $10 million and if you have, because you have viable alternatives at the big league level, I'm not sure it's quite the no-brainer you guys do. Pedro Alvarez, unbelievable the past month. OPS over 800, 4 games, 4 home runs. They're talking about this guy making a transition. Everybody wants to put him on the All-Star team. Are you a buyer of Pedro Alvarez now?
Oh, I think I've been, yeah. I'm not really concerned about batting average with Pedro Alvarez. His numbers at the end of last season were where you want him for a power guy. Looks like they're going to be there this year. I think he's playing a good third base. Stan, we talked about this on your show. I don't care if he hits 225. If he's 38, 103 in home runs and RBI,
sure.
I'll take that April 1st. I'll take that September 1st. Yeah, I'm just fine with it. And I haven't done the math on the other third baseman in the league and whether he should be an all-star or not, because all-star games are becoming less important to me every year. But he's helping his team win, and he's doing what they drafted him to do. Maybe they should send him down in case they have an injury to the second baseman later. I don't
Stan, is maybe not their best offensive player, but he's their most dominant offensive player.
Well, he's their one game breaker.
Yep.
I mean, he's the guy who can change a game. That's what those guys do. There are 3 things I'm keeping an eye on. Number 1, I want to say he's going to cool off. Nobody continues. I want to see if he cools off moderately or he absolutely hibernates like he's done in the past. I don't remember him being this hot for this long, but I want to see if he goes in the tank, which he often does for long periods of time, and I worry about the rest of that offense picking up for him because without him, where are they? The two things that impressed me in the Cincinnati series, two things that said, maybe this guy is finding it. The single down the left field line, with the bases loaded, he went the other way. You never saw him going the other way. The second, Cingrani comes in very tough against left-handers. He pitches him inside. He pulls his hands back, and rips a double into right field. Those are things that he would never do. He was hitting like 180 career against lefties. Those two at-bats in Cincinnati made me think this guy may be onto something here, and I was not a fan. Haven't been for a long time. I also like the fact that they batted him third yesterday, and he handled it. The truth is they tried to bat him cleanup, which is where he belongs, and psychologically he was weak. He couldn't handle it.
So, Stan, I'll add to that point. Jerome Williams on Saturday night threw him a fastball down and in. If you're going to miss against Pedro and you miss away, you're going to get killed. But you could miss down and in all the time and never get hurt. He knocked it out in the first inning. So just to add another at bat that I saw the same thing. The stuff that we've seen from him, good defensive play. He's a game breaker. He's a guy he's carried this team offensively for most of the past month. People are talking about the trade deadline now. They're looking ahead. Guy floated the name Giancarlo Stanton. How much are you guys willing to give up of prospects, guys who they look at like Cole, obviously, and Tyone, or Polanco, who could be a guy like Marte or McCutchen? Are you willing to, with this team where it is, thinking about going forward, make a big splash trade like that?
Is Stanton the guy? You're going to give me him to be my right fielder?
You're ready to do it.
I'm giving up what it takes to get a guy like that.
I'm not. I'm not giving up Tyone. I'm not giving Polanco, who a scout told me has the potential to be better than McCutchen. And I'm not doing it. Do they need help in right field? Yes, they can be better in right field. I'm okay with the platoon at first base now that Sanchez is hitting a little bit. They definitely need more from Garrett Jones. He's been a big disappointment this year. His power numbers, he's on track for less than 15 home runs. And I'd like that right fielder. Maybe they got, they're solid now at shortstop with Mercer. I'd like that right field bat, but not at that price. The price depends on who you get. Giancarlo Stanton had a great year last year, not so much this year. He's had a lot of injuries. I don't want to focus on him, but I can't give up that level of bounty for Giancarlo Stanton.
Guys, I don't know that I'd walk across this ledge comfortably. Did you watch this clown walk across the Grand Canyon last night?
No.
No, I didn't.
On a wire?
It was on Fox TV, so therefore I wouldn't watch it.
Discovery Channel. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Did he fall?
He didn't fall, but he was not tethered. He walked across the Grand Canyon.
He made it?
He made it. He did make it.
Well, I thought this was a bad way to make a living.
Well, the Pirates don't seem to be on a tightrope wire anymore. Mike, any final thoughts on the Bucks?
You got me thinking about Stanton all of a sudden. Now, I didn't know he was going to be available. Is Florida
I don't know that Florida has not talked about moving him, but it was an idea
he's
that
a pretty young guy who's kind of pretty high upside.
23 with Hall.
He's already got production.
A blogger threw it out there, and as often happens, it throws out a name.
An ESPN guy who's a pretty well-respected guy. He's a real. But you're right. He's not.
You want a final thought? At some point, and this team again is doing way better than I thought they were going to do. I'm not the only one, by the way. You asked me if I was eating crow. There'll be some others.
There are plenty of guys.
Some others if it comes to that.
When Mark's on the show next week, we'll definitely have the
At
conversation with him.
At some point, you have to look at this and say, look at all this that's going on. Look at the record. Look at the opportunity. Got to push some of those chips into the table and say, it's been 20 years of losing. How about winning in a big way, don't you?
Stan, let's wrap it up. You get to see him virtually every day when they're at home doing the show. Up close and personal, can you identify a thing or two, other than just saying the starting pitching's better or this player's playing better catcher? Is there anything else tangible that you can identify that makes this team different this year?
Well, the pitching is solid all the way through. I do worry about some of those middle inning guys. They're a little shaky when Watson comes in and Morris, but the back end, yesterday notwithstanding, has been very solid. I think overall their team defense is much better than I've seen it in quite some time. Didn't play a strong ball game yesterday, but they don't kill themselves. They don't beat themselves. I think the base running gaffes have been reduced. Just the fundamentals. They're much better. I still think they're searching for that ideal guy to hit number 2. They still need a lot more from guys like Neil Walker. They need more from him. He's capable of giving them more. Garrett Jones is another guy. They've got to get more from him. But, overall, the biggest thing, it's an intangible, Dave, and that is they're beginning to believe. And there's a lot to be said for that. They don't think that it's a fluke. And it doesn't matter what we think. They think that they're for real.
Last question, yes or no? NHL draft Saturday. Is Chris Letang a Penguin on Monday?
Yes.
Yes, with a caveat, because I still think that they could deal him after the draft and still get a good deal.
Well, he didn't say he's a Penguin next year.
I think Chris Letang is gone. I think he's gone.
I think he will be Monday.
That's going to wrap things
Stanton's,
up.
He wouldn't be a rental guy, right? They could,
3.5 years.
he could theoretically be your right fielder for a long time.
We'll trade Letang to the Marlins for Stanton
so
and
he
Ty
could
on
be,
alone.
he could be what your prospects you hope might be.
June 24th. That's this week's edition of
If
the
you don't
Pittsburgh
send them
Sports
down when they
Reporters
start
with Mike
being that.
Prisuta, Stan Savran, and I'm David Todd. Thanks for watching.